Welcome to this briefing. You have, in the WIN application, a video how to manage OEBs that is dedicated to instructors on the recommended way to review the OEBs during the cockpit preparation and how to apply an OEB during the flight. The presentation you are looking at today was prepared for Flight Ops regional conferences. It is more dedicated to the airline's flight operations, but it's also useful for instructors. The aim of this presentation is to share with you in-service feedback and Airbus experience that tend to show that for various reasons, OEB management in airlines, both in the documentation and in the cockpit, can sometimes be enhanced. Let me provide you with a few situations that should be enhanced. Firstly, OEB management in the operational documentation. For aircraft having OEBs in the queue range, so the A320 and A330, A340 family aircraft, queue rates are sometimes not customized to the tail number or not up to date with the most recent OEBs. Some OEBs are not at the most recent issue, or some OEBs that are no longer applicable to the aircraft are still in the queue range. A second situation, OEB management in the cockpit. OEBs not checked during the preliminary cockpit preparation. These examples were selected to provide a reminder on good practices of the OEB management. So again, the aim is to provide you with information on the impact on aircraft, crew behavior, and the possible impact on your training. These cases imply that crews have limited knowledge of the aircraft configuration and also that crews may apply erroneous actions when facing an event that may be associated with OEBs. In this presentation, we will see in detail the following good practices for the OEB management in airlines. Know your OEBs on each MSN and manage operational documentation. Use Airbus material to consolidate knowledge. Do not try to reproduce OEB entry conditions in the simulator if not coded in the simulator malfunctions panel. Implement the design fixes allowing OEB removal. Remove the OEB as soon as fixes are installed. And inform Airbus through SB reporting. Know the OEBs. For aircraft concerned by one or more OEBs, it is important to consolidate knowledge of the OEB entry conditions. According to the Airbus SOP preliminary cockpit preparation, OEBs must be checked. Even if it is not the objective of this presentation to talk about the OEB reminder function, this is a function that we encourage all of you to use in order to reduce the flight crew workload when several OEBs are applicable to the fleet. It is the task of the flight crew. There is no need to memorize the OEB entry point if an OEB affects the ECAM. If you use it, the procedure part of the ECAM alert is automatically removed. A reference to the OEB proc is displayed instead. Flight crews must be aware of the OEBs applicable to the aircraft they are flying with. The OEB reminder function can help you. Of course, the QA rates on A320, A330, A340 aircraft and the FCOM on A350, A380 aircraft contains the list of applicable OEBs and the associated procedures. The goal of the OEB review is to have in mind the possible deviations to some systems' initial design and to remember the OEB entry conditions. It could be based on flight conditions, specific flight phases, ECAM alerts, or detection of a specific abnormal behavior. To consolidate knowledge of OEBs, use Airbus materials. In addition to the operational documentation, you may find several media, and the most appropriate ones to get familiar with the system behaviors are the videos. Some of them were presented during flight op seminars and are available on Airbus World and Airbus Win. Use and share these Airbus videos with your pilots. Even if you are interested in training your flight crews to manage some OEB situations, please do not try to reproduce OEB entry conditions in the simulator if the malfunctions are not already coded in the simulator malfunction panel. The main reason is that training simulators are not representative of malfunctions that are not coded in the simulator malfunction panel. If despite everything you use inappropriate failures to replicate an OEB entry conditions in the simulator, there is a risk of negative training. You may create confusion between procedures and loss of trust in aircraft or simulator design. Subsequent to the training impact, let me come back to the operational documentation impact. As soon as an OEB cancellation fix is available, the corrective actions and associated configuration are communicated to you by FOT. Then a dedicated SB is issued. So, as recommended by the Flight Operations Department, please implement the fixes and upgrade your fleet to remove the OEB. Then, when the fix is installed on the aircraft, remove the OEB from your operational documentation on each aircraft and not your entire fleet. Remember that it is the operator's responsibility to remove the OEBs as soon as corrective modifications are installed on the aircraft. As you know, removing an OEB prevents your flight crews from sometimes having a long list of OEBs to review and the associated entry conditions to remember. An OEB is the last safety net before facing a possible event, so reduce the number of OEBs as soon as you can. The coordination within the airline and Airbus is important during the retrofit. The airline should inform Airbus as soon as possible of the SB retrofit via Airbus World. Do not forget that the SB reporting is the only means that triggers the major event process and the removal of the OEB in Airbus substock. Please note that depending on your revision cycle, you may sometimes receive your updated manuals from Airbus a few months later. So remove the OEB by yourself until the next Airbus revision or request an unplanned revision. For example, if you receive your revision every 6 months and the SB is reported 3 months before the next one, you will receive your updated manuals from Airbus 3 months later. Now we have reached the end of this presentation. And to conclude, know your OEBs on each MSN and manage your operational documentation. Implement the design fixes as soon as available. Remove OEBs as soon as fixes are installed and report to Airbus. And do not try to reproduce OEB entry conditions in the simulator if they are not already coded, to avoid any negative training. I hope this good practice was helpful.